No redemption time for Sha'Carri Richardson in Tokyo. U.S. sprint star finishes fifth in 100-meter final as Melissa Jefferson-Wooden takes gold. Sha'Carri Richardson shook her head. This is not how the defending champion had envisioned women's 100-meter final at the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo on Sunday, September 14th. The defending champion missed out on a medal, finishing fifth in 10.94 seconds. After a season interrupted by injury, the Olympic silver medalist only progressed from the semifinals as one of two fastest losers in a season's best 11.00. Coincidentally, she did the same in Budapest 2 years ago when she claimed her first global title. However, she was unable to repeat those heroics from lane 2 as Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, who also trains under former sprinter Dennis Mitchell, surged to victory. The 24-year-old's winning time of 10.61 was a new championship record, eclipsing Richardson's mark of 10.65 from Budapest. Just as she did in the semifinals, Richardson appeared to stumble soon after leaving the blocks. She was never in medal contention but finished her race well to clock 10.94, her first sub-11 performance in what has been a difficult year. Now she can look forward to the sprint relay with the United States defending their title. The heats are on Saturday, September 20th, with the final the following day. Result from women's 100-meter final at World Athletics Championships, Tokyo 25, Tokyo, Japan. 1. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, USA, 10.61 cr. 2. Tina Clayton, Jam, 10.76. 3. Julian Alfred, LCA, 10.84. 4. Sharika Jackson, Jam, 10.88. 5. Sha'Carri Richardson, USA, 10.94. 6. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Jam, 11.03. 7. Marie-Josée Tallou-Smith, CIV, 11.04. 8. Dina Asher-Smith, GBR, 11.08. The track gleamed like obsidian under Tokyo's stadium lights. It was the final night of the women's 100 meters, and the world had gathered, not just in the stands, but behind flickering screens, breaths held tight as bowstrings. Sha'Carri Richardson stood in lane 4. 4. A number with symmetry, solid, like the legs that had carried her through loss, criticism, bans, and a bruising return to form. But tonight was supposed to be the night. Redemption. Everyone called it that, like it was a promised thing. Like she was running not just for gold, but to erase everything that came before. The failed drug test before the 2021 Olympics, the press dragging her, the loss of her mother, the public eye turned savage and hot. But running doesn't erase anything. It just adds. Earlier that day, the media called it a clash of American queens. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, 23, newly crowned national champion, stoic, efficient, fast like a bullet. She was everything America loved in an athlete, quiet, humble, unbeatable. And then there was Sha'Carri, bold, brash, brazen, unapologetically herself, with her flame-colored hair and sharpened nails and tattoos that told stories in ink. The world had drawn its lines, hero or heel, inspiration or distraction. She didn't run for their approval. At least, that's what she told herself. The gun went off. Sha'Carri exploded from the blocks. The world turned to a smear. For 11 seconds, all that existed was the pump of her arms, the snap of knees, the burn in her lungs, and the absolute stillness of purpose. But as the finish line neared, it was Melissa's face, cool, smooth, eyes fixed. That inched ahead. First place. Gold. Sha'Carri crossed fifth. A silence louder than any stadium roar echoed in her ears. Afterward, in the mixed zone, microphones crowded toward her like hungry mouths. So, Sha'Carri, what happened out there? No one asked Melissa that. When you win, people assume they already know your story. Sha'Carri forced a tight smile. She wanted to say a million things about the wind, about her start, about the weight of a country pressing down on one pair of shoulders. Instead, she said, I gave it my all, and I'll be back. Because that's what runners say when they don't win. They talk about the next race, the next chance, as if there's always more. But that night, alone in her room, Sha'Carri wasn't sure there would be a next. She lay still, reliving the race, frame by frame. Fifth, not even close to the podium. Just out of reach of glory, and even further from forgiveness. Forgiveness. Not from the public. She'd long stopped caring about Twitter. But from herself. She thought back to Oregon, 2021. The trials. Her victory. The moment the world saw her, really saw her, for the first time, and crowned her queen. Then the crushing news. A drug test failed. Marijuana. Not to cheat. Not to enhance performance. But to survive grief. To numb the ache of losing her mother just days before. Still, rules were rules. The Olympics went on without her. The world turned. But she didn't quit. She trained. Harder than ever. She returned, sometimes triumphant, sometimes not. She learned how to fail in public. How to rise in public, too. Now here she was, back in Tokyo at last. Not as a favorite this time, but as a fighter. And still, it hadn't been enough. Meanwhile, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden was being hailed a hero. And she deserved it. Her rise had been meteoric, her form perfect. She ran like someone who was born to do nothing else but fly. Sha'Carri didn't begrudge her that. No, what stung wasn't the gold around someone else's neck. It was the silence in her own soul. The race hadn't given her peace. Redemption wasn't in the lane. The next morning, she woke early. Tokyo's dawn was soft and pale. She slipped on a hoodie and stepped outside, unnoticed. She found a quiet bench by the river and sat, letting the wind play with the ends of her braids. And there, in the stillness, she began to feel it, just a flicker. Not redemption. Not yet. But something close to resolve. A voice inside her whispered, "You don't need redemption. You need truth." Truth that her journey was not a straight line. Truth that sometimes the world doesn't hand out medals for surviving. Truth that the real race was never the 100 meters. It was this, showing up, again and again, no matter how many times you fall short of the finish you imagined. A few hours later, she sent a message to Melissa. "Proud of you. America's in good hands." And she meant it. That was the thing about running. You don't have to beat someone to respect them. You just have to show up when the gun fires. The headlines would spin it how they liked. Sha'Carri fails to redeem. Melissa shines as Richardson fades. But that's not the story she would tell. When they asked her, years from now, about Tokyo 2025, she'd say, "That was the night I learned that running doesn't heal you, but it shows you where you hurt." And maybe, just maybe, that was the beginning of something greater than redemption. Maybe it was the start of becoming whole.